Okay, we're going to start with the RAMP Part 1 gathering information process. I am the practitioner and Sonja is the caregiver and she has a little boy named Jack. And we are going to start on the Part 1 roadmap with that purple circle where we're figuring out what does the caregiver want for their child. So, hi Sonja. So what is your priority for Jack, or what do you want him to be able to do?
So he cries a lot. Um, it's very hard to soothe him, and I would love for him to cry less or at least know how to soothe himself more than he does now.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that? A little bit more about when Jack cries all the time and what that looks like?
Sure. Well, he cries a lot all day long. Afternoons are definitely worse than the mornings, like especially once we pick up his brother from school and get home. And it's not always obvious what he's crying about.
Okay, so now we're going to move into section B, where we talk about and you get information from the caregiver about what they've already tried um, to help their child be able to do whatever that priority is. Okay, Sonja, so what have you tried to help Jack not cry as much?
We try the normal like parent stuff, like feed him, change him. He loves his pacifier. We use it a lot. I know there's lots of opinions about pacifiers, but it's working right now, and that is definitely something that works. That kid loves movement, which is fine, but I'm exhausted and I do not want to be moving all day. He does love the swing and the bouncy chair. I think he's probably in it too much, but it works. So we use it, and I don't always know what else to do. Um, he, we figured out like really big movements will calm him. So, like, if I hold him and I like do squats, that's not super fun. I don't enjoy that. It works, but I don't love it. Um, his dad has figured out this is embarrassing, if we buckle him in his car seat and like really big, as big as you can, where we're not going to tip him upside down, um, any really big movement calms him, but I don't enjoy it and I'm kind of tired.
So now we're going to move to part C on the roadmap, where we're going to ask the caregiver what worked and what didn't work of those ideas and strategies that they've tried. So Sonja, of all those strategies and things that you've tried to get Jack to not cry as much or to be able to soothe himself more, which of those worked? Which of those didn't work for you?
Okay, so the pacifier always works. Like, it's still not the longest term solution, but the pacifier almost always works. Feeding him will help in the moment, but like there's days where I could feed him like every hour just as a soothing technique. And some days it happens because I really do not know what else to do, but it is not a long-term solution. Again, the swing and the bouncy chair work, and he could be in there a really long time. I'm pretty sure that's not good for babies, but again, it's something about the movement that will definitely work. We've also tried things like, oh, maybe he's hot. Let's take his clothes off. And it's like, well, I don't know, maybe that helped, maybe it didn't. It's definitely not like an easy fix. And of course we do all the normal parent things like sing to him, talk to him, bounce him around. It feels like it always takes something big and it's never long term.
So now this is where we're at one of the yellow boxes on the roadmap, where this is an opportunity for us as practitioners to provide some informative feedback to the caregiver, thinking about the things and information that they just shared with you. So, it sounds like you've done a lot of things to help Jack, and you are definitely recognizing his cues that he's telling you that he needs something when he's doing all of that crying. I also hear you recognizing that he likes movement, but you also want that movement experience to be enjoyable for you too. So especially when it comes to doing all those squats that may be a little bit difficult. And you had mentioned that you're feeling tired. And it sounds like you have some questions about the strategies that you're using, and whether or not they're appropriate strategies, and if there are some other strategies that might be helpful for you. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think you captured everything that I said. I especially am wondering about like the swing and the bouncy seat because he could be in there a really long time, and some days I don't know what else to do. So he's in there for an hour or more because if I pick him up, the crying starts, and I've changed you and I fed you, and I would like him to be able to soothe in other ways. And I would like to be able to enjoy my baby without feeling like I always have to do something to you. Like can we just hang out? Because right now we're not just hanging out.
Thank you for sharing all that information, Sonia. So now we're at the part D of our roadmap, where we're looking at and trying to determine with the caregiver, what are some different opportunities throughout their activities and daily routines that we can practice the priority that this caregiver has given us. So Sonia, what routines or parts of your day might be good times to practice getting Jack to soothe himself and not cry as much?
I have to kind of think. So, like, he does like playing on the floor. Again, it's short term, like with toys or books or whatever he's reaching for, stuff like that. But I do wonder if there's a way to keep him happier longer. And I'm not thinking for like an hour. Like, I realize he's a baby, but like I see him with other babies and they're happier a lot longer than he is. So if there's a way to like keep him happier longer, the daycare picking him up, I call, or picking up his brother, I call the bewitching hour because it's just so awful for all of us. Um, I mean, that feels the most like immediate need to fix, but I also realize that might be the hardest.
So now we're at section E of the RAMP Part 1 roadmap. And this is the point where we begin to gather what are some interests of the child and what are some activity setting information that the caregiver can share with us so that we're able to determine and help support meeting that need of the caregiver through a variety of routines. So there's lots of opportunities to be able to practice. So Sonia, how do you tell when Jack is happy? Like, how do you know that? What happens?
So, when he's in the swing and he's not crying and he's just looking around smiling, like he's pretty happy. He like when we're with him, he smiles and babbles and reacts to us. Like just, I don't know, kind of the like normal baby stuff that he does. Um, and then like when he starts to get upset, he kind of starts to do that like wiggle and that like we call it, oh God, or his brother will say his timer's going off. And it's kind of like you can just tell it's starting to happen. It doesn't go from 0 to 100, but he just kind of starts to whine. And then once we're gone, like it's going to be hard to calm him.
And how do you know when he's upset? Like, does he immediately start crying and blowing up? Or is there kind of that slow warm up where you're starting to notice that this might escalate into him being fully upset and crying?
Yeah, it's more of that slow warm up where he'll just kind of start to make this sound that's different from his happy sound. I guess I don't even know how to describe it, but yeah, like that's when his brother will go, his timer's going off, and that's kind of, I'm not describing it very well, but it's definitely like a slow gradual. I'm starting to get upset. It's not 0 to 100.
So now this is the point in the part 1 process where we are going to summarize all of that information, and then we're going to move to figure out what is that joint plan or next step. When would be a good time for us to do an observation, and what routine would be helpful for us to be able to see what's happening and then to offer some support and continue that process. And that is section F, so that joint plan section. So Sonja, our next step in this process is to observe you and Jack in one of the routines that you had talked about, where maybe Jack seems to cry a lot. What would be most helpful activity for us to be able to observe?
I think like once we get home from picking up his brother, because I think you'll see everything that we've talked about, he will be upset. I will do deep knee bends. I will do everything that I know might work or not work. And he will eventually probably end up in this one.